Dar from DIYs by Dar asks the question, where do you sell your furniture? Not in so many words, but she said basically that selling and shipping is foreign to her. And she's worried that if she sells from home, like Facebook Marketplace, that some weirdo might get her. And that is a valid concern. So today we're going to talk about where you sell your furniture. First, let me explain my situation. I sell my furniture in my shop, for the most part. Sometimes, though, I will put it online when I have to on Facebook Marketplace. But remember, I have the protection of the shop there. I haven't had to list anything for a long time, but that's not to say that I'm selling hand over fist in the shop. Sometimes I sit on things for a long time. But what I do, because I have a following and a shop, I'm able to sometimes put on social media, here's this piece, and whatever. Or sometimes I'll do a post like today, 20-30% off, whatever I'm feeling, or whatever the situation is, if I need to get rid of some furniture or whatever. So I'm fortunate in that way. But if you really want to avoid the online situation and you don't have a shop, then look for an outlet like that around your home that you can take furniture to, that they'll let you sell your pieces on consignment, provided it's a reasonable agreement. But I would say look for the really cute little boutiques. If they're packed to the gills, they might not have room for your things, but sometimes shops that are just opening are great opportunities. That would be a suggestion that I would have. Also, a vendor mall. You can rent a little space if you want to do something like that, and then have your own little booth. I'm sure these are things that you've considered or thought of in the past, but it's just the first way that you might consider selling your furniture. Pricing is another subject, but that is for another day. But we're just basically talking about where we're going to sell our furniture. So, like I said, occasionally I'll list on Marketplace. So Marketplace has become a total just haven for scammers. Things to look for when you list something is an immediate response. They often will ask you if they can put the money in, deposit the money in your account. They just need your email address. They're just phishing, and they're basically looking for your information. So if they ask you things like, I can PayPal you, and they want your phone number, they want your email address, those are red flags immediately. Someone who's willing to pay. Most normal people are going to say something like, first of all, will you take a little less? So you might want to price your items considering that most people are going to offer you a little bit less. But other things that normal people will say, first of all, are the logistics. They want to know how they're going to get it. They'll tell you something specific, like my husband gets off work at 4:00, and then we can come by and get that piece if it's still available. We live here, just normal conversation. And those are things that scammers will not come up with. Another thing you might want to do is, I've thought about this different times. If you have several pieces to sell, then perhaps list all the pieces together and make it a little slideshow. Because if they come back with an offer or not an offer, but a statement that says, I'm interested in this piece and I would like to pay for it with a cashier's check, or whatever the line is that they're using, if it obviously that's a pre-written response, and they are not really responding to what you're selling. They're just responding. They're just fishing. Okay. That is a concern. So that's my suggestion, is to try to weed out people very carefully, but it's really gotten bad. That's kind of why I don't care for it. But one thing that I can do is, again, because of the shop, if I have the shop and if you're selling at a physical location too, you can say, you can give the information of your location and put all that in the listing. Anything that's public, you can put it in the listing, and then you're a little more protected by that, because you can say that they can come look at it at your place of business, or the place where you have your vending at. So those are some thoughts too. Other places you can sell your furniture. You can make your own website. No problem with that. You can do commerce through it. You can take payments. The only problem with that is arranging shipping and also bringing people to your website. So that's another thing, is you have to do all the marketing there. So you might want to look at Etsy or something like that in order to sell your furniture. There's so many things to consider because there's seller fees. But if shipping is a big concern, obviously though, if you are able to promote your furniture to a larger audience, which is, basically the whole US, unless you want to ship furniture internationally, which I can't imagine that you would want to do that. But you need to figure out the shipping part of it. But you're gonna price it so that that's all either included or it makes sense. So, or the customer pays the shipping. So if that's the case, then you need to figure the shipping out. Chilly day today. It's windy. It's been raining for days, and the sun finally came out a little bit. But it's windy now, and it's cold, so I'm kind of enjoying being inside today, at home. In the past, I've gone to Dixie Belle paint conferences because I'm a retailer, and I got to hear a lot from professionals in our business about how they sell their furniture. And having an Etsy shop is a big deal because, again, you are exposing your product or your furniture to a much, much larger audience. That means you can charge more because a lot of people, if they just sell in their area, are limited to the economics of the area. So if you live in Texas and you live in Houston, you can charge a pretty penny for a lot of the things that you're selling there. If you live in a depressed area, then you're not going to be able to demand the same kind of prices that you could in a larger metropolitan area. So you're limited when you do sell locally. So opening it up on Etsy or whatever website you choose is going to give you so many more options. But I also feel like you need to raise the bar. If you have a shop, someone's going to be able to come in and kick the tires. They can open every drawer, they can smell it, they can look at it all over every inch, but they can't do that online. So you have to provide lots and lots of pictures. If you're like me, when someone picks up a piece of furniture, I don't even like to look at them loading it on the truck and everything. You pour your heart and soul into it. So there's the concern when you ship something that it's not going to arrive safely at its destination. Using a company, like a third-party company like UShip, is a good idea. So UShip is U, letter U, ship. Now, I will tell you something. This is a do as I say, not as I do thing. I'm just sharing the knowledge that I have, but I will tell you that because I have the shop, I haven't taken advantage of listing my furniture on Etsy. And I'll be honest, I am afraid because it's just, I think it's that fear of someone getting it to their home and then saying, this isn't exactly what I thought it was, or I didn't know that this was exactly this shade or whatever. And then you have to, worry about someone leaving you a bad review or wanting a refund or all that stuff. So it is something that you need to carefully consider and really make sure that you've dotted your I's and crossed your T's. When the pandemic hit, I didn't have the shop, so I decided I was going to sell my furniture on Etsy, and I set up a UShip account. I still haven't listed anything and haven't used it, but I did set it up and I am ready. What I understand happens based on what I have learned is that once you establish one sale and you have somebody, I'll call him Kenny. Let's say Kenny is your shipper. You can use other shippers, but if you come to trust someone, it just might be wise to stick with them. Just like my local delivery guy, I can message him and I can ask him, hey, do you have a trip up to wherever? I currently have this situation, like there's a piece of furniture that I'm looking at on Marketplace that's not even quite an hour away, but it's still a little trek to go get it. And we both have to make sure that it's a cost-effective trip. If I really need it, he can make the trip, but he's going to charge me more because it's going to cost him more. But if he has a couple things to do in that area, then he can just make the trip count and therefore pass the savings on to me if he wishes. And he does, because we're, regular like that. So the same way if you have someone who's shipping across the nation, so you're going to check with him, Kenny, and say, I have a customer that is in Texas and she wants to buy this and I'm in Pennsylvania. When are you passing through? That kind of relationship can be developed, and Kenny might reach out to you and say, hey, I'm coming your way, have anything for me. That's what I understand can happen on UShip and some other services. I also have a friend who deals with vintage furniture. Like she's sold lots of things, like she sold a 60s sectional, that kind of thing. She has shipped using Greyhound. So I guess it goes on their buses in the cargo department when they have trips to certain areas. So that might be something worthwhile looking into as well. To circle back, basically, if you're going to sell online, if you sell on Etsy, they're going to promote it for you, but it certainly doesn't hurt to also market it. So to use the links for your listing and share them everywhere that you can. Any type of social media that you have, you can share that listing and make sure that, the whole world knows that your piece is available for purchase. Once you establish that reputation for both your work and your business practices, I guess I could say, your dependability as far as shipping and all that, communication, all those things, then that is a good situation. But back to what you said, Dar, about worrying about some crazy person, that is a very valid concern. And if it's a small piece of furniture, then, find a place that you can meet, obviously. Maybe you can work something out with someone who has a business that's very close by and maybe has like a shipping dock or something in the back. Maybe you can try to make an arrangement like that. There is also Craigslist. That's another place to sell. And I have no experience or no stories with that, except to say that even back, oh boy, almost 10 years ago now, I tried to give a piano away, and eventually we did, but I listed it on Craigslist. And the scammers were out then. It's like when you're trying to give something away and someone is trying to figure out how to pay you for it, yeah, there's something up with that. Often scammers, too, don't use the right English. Like they don't speak in a way that's familiar to you. So that means they might be someone who's out of the country. Again, just fishing for your information. I know I'm jumping all over the place here, but this is just all the things that are coming to mind when we talk about this subject. I think to wrap things up, I would like to become more proactive and list some things on Marketplace, because my store, so I've moved a couple times, and this last move, I did it basically for financial reasons, but also I'm kind of getting older. You haven't noticed or anything, but I basically kind of shifting gears a little bit. I don't know what I would ever do if I retire with my time, so I'll probably always do what I'm going to do, but I might, scale back and not have as big of, a workshop or showroom or just situation that I have now. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? I know enough to know that no one knows. That was a really convoluted remark, but if you were sticking with me, it made sense. Anyway, so my point in that was I like that I don't have, I used to have a lot of vendors. So I got rid of some of my vendors when I made this move, simply for space reasons. And I wanted to eliminate that part of my business that I didn't care for that much, which was at the end of the month, all the paperwork. So now it's just me and my furniture and my paint, and I do sell Iron Orchid designs. So I sell Dixie Belle and Iron Orchid designs. So that brings people in, but those people already refinish furniture themselves. I think in the entire time that I've been selling furniture in this store situation, I've only ever had one customer who was equally interested in painting as well as buying a finished piece. It's not to say that won't ever happen, but most of the time your furniture refinishers are looking for older crappy pieces that they can redo. So like me, I don't typically buy anything finished. I wouldn't, because that's what I do. So anyway, what I'm saying here is my foot traffic is a lot less. So it's up to me to market. So I need to do a better job. I will promote my videos, but I don't always necessarily translate that this piece is for sale. So I need to do a better job at that. Didn't mean to turn this introspective, but what I'm saying is I'm on the journey with you. I suggest you find a place locally to sell if you don't want to deal with any of the online stuff. But if you're not selling enough locally, then you might need to go with the online stuff. Let's go on this journey, and I'm going to experiment and list a few things on Marketplace, and maybe I'll even get courageous enough to list something on Etsy and put it out there for the world to see. I hope you enjoyed this discussion, and I hope it helped you somewhat. I know these might be obvious things, but maybe I said a thing or two that you hadn't thought of. But either way, I'm happy you're along on this journey with me. This is our Tuesday talk show, and I am always looking for ideas and things to discuss and things to do. I can do a project, or we can talk about something like we are right now. And If you become a channel member, that's where I'm culling my ideas from, as I get suggestions from channel members. This week, DIYs by Dar. Check her out on YouTube. She is an amazing artist. I love her furniture, and she does lots of other things too. I believe she makes jewelry, and she's just an artist, and she's really talented. So you definitely need to check her out. Thanks for the idea, Dar, and maybe next week we can discuss something that you come up with. Just hit that join button, and we have discussions in the Facebook group, and it's just a nice thing to have this little community, and I appreciate you. So I hope you have a great week, and I'll see you Saturday. Thank you so much for watching today. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. If you like this content, subscribe. And don't forget to hit the notifications bell so you don't miss anything. Visit us at lavintagedecor.company. On Instagram, we're LaVintage Decor, and on Facebook, we're LaVintage Decor Altoona. Stay well.